Yeah, no problem.
All right, so we're about to begin. Again, like I said, we're going to begin with Ms. Feliciano. So if we could just, again, at York, we're just going to get to you next. So if you could just hang out for a few moments, we can share that. Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. For today is Friday, July 17th, 2026. This is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. Following board members present this morning and by stating their names on the record, certified they've reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Morning, Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Good morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Melissa Feliciano, 422-632.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Melissa Feliciano, inmate number 422632. She is serving a sentence of 6 years incarceration for robbery first. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of May 13th, 2026. There is no victim input at this time for this case. There is an offender accountability plan that has been reviewed. It shows the offender has completed the WARNA, new thoughts, and has a job. Utilizing the women's risk-based assessment, the offender's overall score for recidivating falls within the median range. Ms. Feliciano, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I want to begin by thanking the board for giving me the chance to speak today. This opportunity means more to me than I can express. I take full responsibility for my actions that led me to my conviction for robbery in first degree. I know the seriousness of what I did, and I know that my choices caused fear, harm, and pain to others. I think about that every day, and I'm truly sorry for the hurt I caused. And I carry that remorse with me as a reminder of the person I want to begin being. Over the past 5 years and a half, I've had a lot of time to reflect, not just on my actions, but on the kind of woman I want to become. I have remained disciplinary free, followed every rule, and committed myself to personal growth. My incarceration taught me accountability, patience, humility, and the importance of making choices that honor the people around me and the community I want to return to. For the past 3.5 years, for the past 3.5 weeks, I've been living in a halfway house in Hartford. And this has been a meaningful step in my reentry. I have followed every rule and expectation and have adjusted well to the structure and responsibility that come with being there. These weeks have shown me that I can succeed in the community and that I can be trusted and that I'm ready to continue rebuilding my life the right way. I'm also working full time, and that has been a blessing. Having a job gives me purpose. It gives me stability. It reminds me every day that I have something to contribute to the community, that I can show up, work hard, and be someone that people rely on. I'm proud of the progress I've made, and I'm committed to staying employed and continuing to grow. I respectfully ask the board to consider the steps I have taken, my disciplinary-free record, my successful transition into the halfway house, and my dedication to full-time employment. If granted parole, I will continue to follow every condition, stay employed, and make decisions that reflect the lessons I've learned. I will never forget the harm I caused, and I will spend the rest of my life making choices that honor the accountability I owe. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and for allowing me to show that I am ready to continue my rehabilitation into the community. Respectfully.
Okay, thank you very much for your opening statement. So what's going to happen today is that we're going to take turns asking you questions. And then when we're done with that, we're going to deliberate and talk about your case, and then we'll give you an answer today, okay?
Okay.
My colleague, panel member Smith Palmieri, is going to start with the questions this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Feliciano. That was a very nice opening statement. I thought you did a thoughtful job and, didn't go too long where it sort of got watered down. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We're here today, as you said, for a robbery 1 conviction, but that offense involves a little bit more, right? It involves
Absolutely
an end, a loss of life, somebody that you knew. So I heard you say specifically that you take responsibility, and you specifically mentioned robbery 1. So can you tell us exactly in your own words what you do take responsibility for, not just by naming the charge?
I take full responsibility for even allowing other people, as in my co-defendants, to be, first of all, a part of my life. Second of all, I just take accountability and responsibility for what happened. Because of me, someone got injured, someone got hurt, and now it was a loss of life. And it was because of me and my actions, nobody else.
My review of the file is you really put the ball in motion.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm misread or misspeaking, but the 2 co-defendants, they were somebody you were acquainted with through your actions in Hartford. You more or less introduced them to this opportunity.
Yes.
To rob the victim, which led to eventually the victim's death.
Correct.
And I would agree with you. You've done quite well. You have engaged in mental health treatment. Now we're live streaming, so I'm not going to ask you to go into really any details about your mental health treatment. But I would like to know, how things are going. If you feel good.
Yes, I actually have a psychiatrist. His name is Jay Berkowitz. He is out of Liberty Integrated Behavioral Health. I've been seeing him since I've got out. We have our treatment plan going on, so that's ongoing. I have actually an appointment with him next month. Okay.
And you resolved any issues with medications that you were having?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And you feel comfortable with the way you have things set up?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is it your plan to continue treatment for a period of time? Have you thought about that?
Yes, absolutely. Treatment is most important towards, reintegrating into society and then actually being into, the community, because those decisions that I made in my past were due to bad decisions, not getting treatment, those types of things really took a turn for the worst in me. So that's my main goal, is to stay focused on rehabilitating and making right choices.
And moving in that direction about making choices and how you've, improved yourself in many ways, including your
Yeah.
mental health needs to get better.
Yes.
You were really struggling with addiction also at the time. And that
Yes.
definitely appears to have played a role in this offense. However, when I review some of the programs that you've taken at York, when you were at York, it did not include an addiction services program.
Correct.
Okay. So, how do you feel about going forward, not having any substance abuse treatment to give you a foundation for being back in the community?
Excuse me. So actually, while I was incarcerated, I think my first 2 years I was in 2 North, which is the PHP, it's mental health program. We had groups that focused solely on addiction. So I did have some type of programming, just not DOC related. Right now, what I'm doing, I'm seeing my psychiatrist, and we're going over with my treatment plan about, he also deals with my addiction and things like that. The only thing is that I can say about that is, for me personally, what didn't work for me, because I have been to a rehabilitation program before outside of DOC, I didn't feel comfortable being in a room, talking about, getting high and all those types of things. It didn't really work for me. It made me feel like I just didn't want to relate anymore to that. I want to move forward with my life. So I definitely talked to my psychiatrist about it, and he's helped me with doing so. I would like to eventually seek other type of programs about it, but right now I'm more focused on my mental health, so that way I don't go into anything else.
Okay, so you see mental health as being your primary need for right now.
Correct.
Okay. And should you, progress as you progress with your mental health treatment, how would you proceed with then addressing your substance abuse? Can you think of what you might be able to do in the community that could support you in your sobriety?
I definitely see myself looking for a sponsor, somebody to, go to and seek when I feel those weak moments, or moments of, something happening that could trigger a thought, or, anything. But I also would like to say that once I furthermore proceed into all of that, I would like to help someone else that is in my situation.
I think that's a lot of individuals in your situation feel like they can give back by maybe mentoring or sponsoring someone else. I
Absolutely.
think that for our purposes today, we want to make sure that you're taken care of, that you will be finding some places to provide you with structure and stability, outside
Right.
your employment.
And I appreciate that.
It's important to be able to be social in the community and safe in sober way for yourself.
Exactly. And
It
there's,
just go right ahead.
I'm sorry. And there's also, I also have a lot of support. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pursuit. It's a work for a little program, right? And a lot of the females there, they have transitioned out. They're more than supportive of everything. Yesterday, I had somebody come up to me and tell me if I ever need any help with anything, they know what I'm going through. So.
And do you find that your coworkers that have been going through this program as you are now, have been there a while? Is there longevity with the employees?
Yes.
That's certainly a nice to be in a good situation to see how that is.
Absolutely.
Certainly doable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a good future. It's a great company. You know, there's a few companies up that way that do have work furlough programs, and for those that want it, it works out really well. So we do
Absolutely.
encourage you to continue it with it if it, you know, falls into how you're living and where you're living.
Yeah.
You've
The
taken
company
some
is
other-
very supportive.
Yeah, they're very supportive and friendly, or as we like to say, to the reentry
Yes.
community. It's a second chance program, that's for sure. It's an incredible
Yes.
opportunity for a
It
career.
is. It is.
I mean, not just a job. So you've also, I did read too, talking about your mental health, that you did do groups, that you've been participating there. Did I also read too that you did some peer mentoring through the mental health program?
Yes.
Okay. And that took place for a while because they recognized how well you were doing. And you were doing that for about a year, almost a year and a half.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a great experience to be able to help the women in there. It's just, you don't feel alone. That's the most important thing that you take away from that experience.
It is important to have support. Always remember that.
Yes.
And there is support in many, many ways in the community now,
Yes.
especially for your mental health needs.
The most important thing I learned there was it's okay to ask for help.
Definitely. I did see also that you completed the New Thoughts program. It's,
Yes.
And many individuals find that helpful to kind of think about things in different ways, to be able to parse out the consequences. Can you talk to us a little bit about maybe how that program is giving you a different angle to be thinking?
Yes. First of all, I loved that group. It touched point on a lot of what I kind of was already researching about addiction and trying to keep your mind from falling to a different way, people persuading you. It teaches you a lot about how social society can sway one way and you can go either that way or you can go the other way just by simple things, the sound, the way you hear things, the way you see things, the way, it was an awesome group, and it really taught me a lot about sitting back and thinking about the way one person may think compared to the way I think, the way some person reacts, the way I can react. It was very mind opening.
Good. Do you think it'll help you once you're in the community on parole?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would
It
think
already does.
You also have an 11-year-old son? Daughter, sorry.
Yes.
And that will, yeah. And I would think that helps a bit with parenting.
Yes. I did parenting classes too.
Excellent. All right. So you talked a little bit about the events, and you did not take the Voices program, but can you talk a little bit about, from your experience now through all the programs through mental health, how do you think the victims are affected by this whole situation?
The victims are affected for the rest of their lives. It's something that the situation, it was the worst thing any of us had to experience in our lives, and there's nothing that I can do to take that back. The only thing that I can do is change who I was. The most important thing was taking accountability. When I would make mistakes or do anything, I used to run from them. That was my favorite thing to do, was run. Being incarcerated, going through those programs, talking to other women allowed me to really open my eyes and mind to see the actions that we make, the decisions we make, it has a ripple effect on the entire world. And that was really mind opening to me during my incarceration there. It was just, it's nothing that we can do to take back, but to learn from the decisions that we make and how it affects everyone around, not just you.
I mean, you knew the victim for quite some time, a
Yes.
few years at best. And regardless of what your connection was to him or your relationship, you knew him for quite some time. And, essentially because of your actions, other people became involved. And he is the victim of it all.
Yeah.
It's
It's really a conversation of, like, I'm not able to take anything back, and I'm like more than sorry, but I can't. I have to move forward, and it's nothing I can do to change it. I know I'm gonna have to carry that for the rest of my life.
and it's important to be able to look forward. You cannot, as you said, you cannot change the past, but you have to you have to grow from those decisions that you made. Right. I mean,
Yes.
essentially, he was an innocent person
Correct.
that was taken advantage of.
Yes.
Let's talk about your release plan a little bit. You've got married while you've been incarcerated?
No.
No, so that's not your husband, because he was referred to your husband and then not referred to your husband.
No,
As your
I've
husband.
never
Okay.
said that he's my husband.
Okay, I have boyfriend, husband, in question mark. So, and how long have you known him?
2.5 years, almost 3.
Okay, because your release plan is to go, is it live with him or live with his mother?
With him.
With him, okay. And how did you meet him?
We met online. He was a person that actually came out of nowhere. Neither one of us really were looking for anything, but just someone to talk to, support a friend. And it became more because we had more things in common, goals, moving forward with our life, same type of mistakes that we made, but we saw what it's done to others. And it's just a person that has supported me when no one else has.
I ask those questions because for a release plan, it's important to know that part of your success is going someplace where people are going to be supporting you, where there's not as much as you can avoid any kind of criminal activity or something that could trigger you going back, or cause you to relapse for your substance abuse or put you in difficult situations. So when you're incarcerated for a period of time and you meet somebody, it's always important for us to have a little bit of an understanding of how that occurred.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that, asking these type of questions, because I understand completely. People come out, they don't know who they're getting involved with, and then it ends up turning into a nightmare, whatever. But he's very supportive. He's actually a little too supportive for me, but he means very well. And I know the difference between a very toxic relationship, healthy, and I feel very safe with him.
Is he somebody that comes to visit you at the facility, or do you just communicate through the tablet or letters?
No, we communicate through phone. Also, he is on the road because he has his own business. So, but most of all, that's how we kind of met, through electronic, and it just kind of keeps staying that way, even though I want to see him sometimes, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation you have, especially since you've never really been together in person. So, it'll be up to parole whether or not they allow you to release there. So we will, at least I'll be recommending, that you be able to continue at the halfway house until that's resolved or not resolved. Give you a chance to work things out. And how long have you been working at Pursuit Aerospace?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. You have a nice savings, it says, or appears.
Yes.
And a good future there. So do you have any concerns about being out in the community? You do not have parole, you do not have probation. So once you finish this sentence, which is not that far off, you won't have the support of community supervision. Do you have any concerns about being back in the community? Any concerns about treatment or people you might encounter?
I don't necessarily have too much concern. I'm very aware of what can trigger me, what can't. I'm very aware of, I have disciplined myself and my mind to where I know I can't go to certain areas. I know I can't do this, do that, because regardless, even if I'm in a halfway house or not, I can go to work, but I can also take a walk wherever I want to, right? It's the decision that I make and discipline myself without thinking about community release or parole or anybody. It's in my mind and my mindset of just, honestly, I've been through a lot in my life, and sitting down for almost 6 years taught me and gave me the ability to understand that I deserve so much better, that my daughter deserves to have somebody better. So I'm just focused on giving myself the best life that I can give myself.
And your daughter's with your mother?
Yes.
Okay. And did I read that you're going to try and work out some sort of custody?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, as soon as I get myself stable, you know what I mean? I'm unfortunately in this type of situation because of those decisions I made. I have to make sure that I'm not going to be bouncing in and out of her life. So I want to make sure that I'm completely able to support her in every way possible. So I have to fix anything that's going on with me first.
Good. Smart. Very insightful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. Okay. So I do not have any other questions. Is there something you think maybe I should have asked or you hoped I would ask and didn't?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll set.
Thank you very much. Hey, Ms. Feliciano, I just have a couple of questions. My colleague asked a lot of things that I was going to ask you. So during this robbery, the victim's vehicle was stolen. Did you drive the car?
No.
Were you in the car? Did you go in that car?
No.
Okay. Do you have a driver's license?
No.
All right. How do you get back and forth to work now?
I either get on the bus or Lyft.
Okay. And what are your plans for doing that when you go to your sponsor's home? How are you going to get back and forth to work?
So I actually have an appointment with DMV to get my permit.
Okay.
August 8th. So until then, I'll be going back and forth from the bus to Lyft.
Is it farther at your sponsor's house?
No, it's the same distance.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure you're thinking about these things. And it sounds like you are. You've already contacted motor vehicle. Transportation becomes complicated. Sometimes there's a little bit more support when you're in a halfway house, but then when you're in a sponsor, you kind of are going to have to figure this all out on your own, So I wanted to make sure that you're thinking this through about the distance and how long it's going to take you, because that job is a big deal. It's a big part of your stability. We see people that go to pursue and are very successful, and they stay there for a long time. So you're lucky to have been involved in that program. Some people have a difficult time finding employment after incarceration, especially when they have very serious charges like this. So just make sure you keep up on planning for transportation and don't be late. Don't do anything to, mix up that situation at your employment. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, that's
Thank
all
you.
I have. You're welcome. Panel member Rodriguez, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Ms. Lisa, listen, you sound good today. Obviously, you sound very good. You seem like you're working very hard on your mental health issues, and that's very, very positive. I do have a slight concern about your addiction situation. I would like to see a little bit more connection to a recovery network on the outside, since you're already out there, which I think would be just to add to your the positive things that you already have going on with yourself, work, all the things that you've been doing that are very, very, very positive. You seem to have a lot of insight into what's going on with you. But I do have that kind of slight concern. I mean, maybe it's something you want to consider looking a little deeper into. There's an organization called CCAR on the outside that you could consider maybe connecting with, that might help to provide a little bit more recovery support for you. That's kind of what they do in the community. Not necessarily treatment, but a network of people who you might be able to connect with and be able to turn to when there's those issues of triggers that may come up that you mentioned earlier for yourself.
Absolutely.
Have you thought of that?
Yeah, when you said CCAR, that's exactly what I was going to say. I've already heard about CCAR and I wanted to get in there. I'm just
Good.
a little, right now, I'm just tied up with work right now and trying to save as much money as I can because, like he was saying about transportation and stuff like that. But my mental health is number one because if I
Sometimes there's
don't,
occurring disorders. One of
yeah,
them, they kind of go hand in hand sometimes.
exactly.
So you do have to kind of also be concerned about that as well, I think, at this point. Especially, listen, you're still in a kind of in a structured environment, so people are still kind of watching over you, right? At some point, you're not going to have anybody watching over you like that, right? You're going to kind of be on your own to have to make your own decisions. And all I want to suggest is that you kind of just think about trying to also arrange that network for yourself so that you have that to rely on.
Absolutely.
But listen, you sound good today. You do. Anyway, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, panel member Rodriguez. So, Ms. Feliciano, we're done with the questions now. We're going to talk about your case and deliberate and then give you an answer. During this time, you can listen. Please don't interrupt, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Panel member Smith Palmieri.
Thank you. I think we're all in agreement that Ms. Feliciano had done leaps and strides, if that's the right term, throughout this incarceration. I was really pleased to see how seriously she took mental health treatment at the facility. She was in there for a while, very successful, mentored other inmates while she was there as well, other women. She did express remorse. She took responsibility. It's a very convoluted case. It's a little complicated. She's charged with the robbery. One, the co-defendants, one is charged with manslaughter due to the loss of life of the victim. I think she's made the best use of her time at York through, as I said a minute ago, mental health and the various programs she's taken. I think also significant is her engagement with Pursue Aerospace, which is affording her an opportunity for a future career. Something that's significant, something that gives her purpose and stability, as she said. She has no disciplinary reports. Her criminal history is minimal. She has done what we would hope she would do. She has very little time to end a sentence, about 5 months. So I would like to see her at least be out on parole for that short period of time so that she can work through some of the hiccups that might come along with some where she knows she can reach out and get support. So I am in favor of granting her parole today.
I agree. Panelmember Rodriguez?
I'm on board as well. She sounds really good today. I like the fact how hard she's really working on her mental health issues and really has folks on that. I just don't want her to lose, the issue with her substance abuse. But other than that, I mean, I think she's talked about investigating CCAR. So yeah,
Okay, let's talk about the stipulations you like. Mr. Palmieri.
As I said to Ms. Feliciano, I think it's important for us to put the halfway house on there.
Yeah.
So, the sponsor has agreed, but we don't know if it's been approved, the location yet. So a halfway house if needed, mental health evaluation and treatment, no contact with co-defendants. I had Franklin Cruz and Madeline Dickey. And we don't have the names of the deceased family, because normally we would put no contact.
Yeah.
If we can put no contact with the deceased family, I think that's appropriate, but otherwise, I'm not sure that there's a real connection otherwise.
I don't think she knows who they are, so if we put that, she could inadvertently run into that. That could be a problem,
So,
I'm good.
You're okay with
I'm
the
those.
two
Yep.
co-defendants, and then if there's information later, we can always add a victim's family name if that information comes forward. Okay. And I think what we're doing is using today's date on here.
Next day.
Yeah. So in regards to Melissa Feliciano, inmate number 422632, I'm gonna make a motion to grant discretionary parole on or after today's date, July 17th, 2026, the following conditions in addition to the standard parole conditions. Halfway house placement if needed, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary, no contact with the co-defendants, Franklin Cruz, Madeline Dickey. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Feliciano, you've been granted discretionary parole.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
This concludes the hearing. Melissa Feliciano, 263. Can we get your name real quick?
Coral Valentine,
Thanks. We'll move you in 1 second.
thank you.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. For today is Friday, June 7th, 2026. This is the hearing of Connecticut Court of Pardons and Parole. Following board members are present this morning by stating their names on the record to provide and review all statutorily required documents and available for information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Good morning, Panelmember Rodriguez.
Can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Coral Valentine, 446715.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Coral Valentine, inmate number 446715. She is serving a sentence of 10 years, suspended after 36 months with 3 years probation for 2 counts of possession with intent. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of April 30th, 2026. There is no victim input in the case. There is a defender accountability plan. It has been reviewed. It shows the offender has completed Tier 1 and Circle of Security and is currently in the DeFi program. Utilizing the Women's Risk Assessment Board, the offender's overall score for the city bidding falls within the low range. Ms. Valentine, this is your opportunity to tell why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good morning. I have been incarcerated here at York Correctional for 20 months, 18 of which was continuously for my conviction of possession with intent to sell of narcotics. I've made very poor choices engaging in illegal drug activity, which hurt myself, my family, friends, as well as others in the community due to the drug addiction that I had. During my time here, I did make it a point to figure out what led me to go down the incorrect path that I unfortunately took, resulting in my arrest and incarceration. I have maintained a clean disciplinary record while being here, proving how committed I am to never returning to my old habits and lifestyle. I've been consistently employed for about 16 months during my incarceration, participating in improving my rehabilitation, sobriety, and depression. I've been on naltrexone voluntarily since the first few months I arrived here for preventative measures to remain sober, with that routinely attending medicated assisted treatment groups, attending Narcotics Anonymous every week, as well as completing Tier 1 successfully, all to do with the recovery. I just completed a pre-apprentice construction building trades course where I was able to obtain my OSHA 10 certification. I've also been enrolled in DeFi Entrepreneurship Business class since February of this year. Very close to graduating, which I can continue upon being released. I received my certification in my Circle of Security parenting group. I've been involved in trauma, standing strong, art therapy, and house of healing groups, which help me identify my triggers, handle and cope with stress and depression without feeling the need to numb my feelings with the use of drugs. Also helping me recognize just how many people were hurt and affected, not only to my drug addiction, but even more to my illegal drug use and possession with intent to sell. I'm very disappointed, embarrassed, but most of all, I'm extremely remorseful by my actions. I do take full responsibility knowing the severity. If I am blessed with being granted parole, I do have plans already in place to ensure I don't return to my old lifestyle. An important decision I would choose to make is not to reside in the old town of Bristol to begin with, to start fresh in Middletown, where I have a bed secured at Wings of Hope Recovery, which provides a drug-free environment. They do have mandated meetings as well as common rules. I do have 3 job possibilities upon release. And I also am referred by the supervisor of addiction here at York to become a recovery coach at CCAR. Now I can also apply to be in the apprentice program on the outside, having completed that. I do still plan on applying to as many jobs as possible. I'm also willing to work through a temporary agency in the meantime to gain employment, ultimately becoming able to afford the expenses of my living. To maintain my sobriety, I have coordinated with becoming involved with Rushford Intensive Outpatient, as well as attending Narcotics Anonymous meetings regularly in the community, obtaining a sponsor. My support system, especially my family, are prepared for my progression moving forward, willing to adhere to the conditions of parole if I am granted release. I do want to state how much I've matured. I do take responsibility for all my actions since becoming incarcerated. I have done so much while I've been here to improve myself. I actually can finally say I'm proud of the obstacles I've overcome. I'm to be a productive member of society. Again, I'm grateful for this opportunity of the possibility. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your opening statement, Ms. Valentine. So what's going to happen today is that we're going to take turns asking you questions.
Okay.
And when we're done with that, we're going to talk about your case and deliberate, and then we'll give you an answer today.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, all righty. I'm going to start with the questions today. What have you learned about yourself during this period of incarceration?
That I have had problems with trauma in my life that I tried to avoid, and unfortunately, it was by using drugs. And now I've been able to learn through these groups that I've attended and been in that my triggers and ways to go about reacting differently and being able to sit there and think and process what's going on, as opposed to just jumping at trying to avoid negative situations. I do realize that I've had struggle with addiction for off and on, but I have been clean for 15 years before, and I'm ready to not live this lifestyle anymore.
Okay. You mentioned a lot of good things there. Can you tell me what the triggers are that you identified that, high risk situations that could potentially lead to you relapsing?
Being around old places. So the areas where I was hanging around in Bristol, but it's only certain areas. The loss of I had a loss in my life, so that unfortunately is really what brought me downhill. But during my incarceration here, I've been able to learn with my healing and trauma group of how to productively deal with that on a different level than going negatively and trying to avoid it, which is what I was doing, ultimately leading me to stuff the feelings down, which then I was numbing them with using drugs because I wasn't actually taking care of what was going on and trying to work forward with that. I've also been on antidepressant medications since I've been here that have been working because I've been here for 18 months. So that has helped my thinking be a lot clearer as well, instead of jumbled all over the place. So.
Okay, so that was all good. Just remember that we're being live streamed. So we have all the documents and we have all of your information. We read all about your medical situations in all areas. So you don't necessarily got to go into any kind of private information
Okay.
On a live stream today. We want to kind of protect that for you if we can.
Okay.
So, following up on some of the things that you said, I heard a lot of things that I've heard other people say in the past, going back to old neighborhoods, things like that. Also, a big one is the loss of a loved one. And I heard you mention that. So, as we get older, people that we know get older also, and those kinds of things do happen. So what happens, when you're out and you get that bad news again, that someone or someone in your circle has passed away? Who do you call? What do you do to prevent that from leading to a relapse?
Okay, so I do want to clarify. I do understand that the progress of life and people. It was an unexpected death.
Yeah.
It was a car accident. So that being said,
I'm sorry, and my condolences for that. But I mean, those things, they do happen, and you're no doubt are going to experience this again probably in your life. So you have to be prepared for. Explain to us how you're going to handle that level of stress.
Well, I do plan on having a therapist that I used to have a couple years back. I do want to reach out to him. Also, with the intensive outpatient through Rushford and CCAR, they do offer other options, and I am going to obtain a sponsor through Narcotics Anonymous. So having all that, I'd be able to reach out to somebody so I can, speak to them and process what's going on. My mother's very supportive, so I would definitely be able to have those supports in my area.
Okay. So another person you didn't mention is maybe parole officer too, right? If you start feeling a certain way that stuff's going to go wrong, they're there to help you. So it's another person. In addition to, you talked about CCAR. So CCAR has recovery coaches. It's similar to a sponsor, not exactly, but another person. If you get a recovery coach from CCAR, you've talked about that several times. That might be someone. So you have some idea, and you want to put this sober structure in your life so that you have these people to reach out to when whether it's a loss of a job or something else, whatever it is that happens, it sends people into these dark places, you want to be able to have somebody to talk to. Now, just explain to me again your involvement at CCAR, because in your opening statement went by pretty quick. Did you attend programming in a facility with CCAR?
No, I did the Tier 1 program. So I went through, her name is Ms. Tramachi, and I was trying to do the recovery coaching here, but because of my TS eligibility, it wasn't long enough to be able to do that here. So she wanted to refer me for when I am eligible to leave. So
you're planning to engage with CCAR for additional support through the Recovery Coach Academy when you're released?
Yeah, as well as trying to become a recovery coach.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
get
it,
Yeah,
yes.
so I mean, most people we hear do both, like they get a recovery coach and then they work on trying to become a
Right.
recovery coach. So you can
Absolutely.
help other people in the future, but at the same time, you're getting support.
Help myself, absolutely.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of volunteer opportunities there. There's things that you can do. They usually take volunteers at those locations. You know where the location is near where you want to go?
I believe there's one in Hartford. I'm not positive.
I believe there is. Yeah, Hartford is a big area where they have a lot of
Yeah,
recovery
and
services.
there's a bus line in from Middletown to Hartford also.
Okay. All right. Yeah, those are the kinds of things you need to start thinking through, transportation and all the logistics of how you're going to do these things that you're talking about. Okay. All right, let's go back a little bit. Why were you selling drugs instead of working? Were you trying to get a job? Did you have a job?
I was working through a temp agency, but it was very hard gaining employment. I had also been doing caring for an elderly person that I was living with. So I was getting paid to do that through Money Follows the Person. But it wasn't, my addiction, became overwhelming, and it got to the point where unfortunately I couldn't maintain that anymore. And then I did start distributing the narcotics to support that habit, unfortunately.
Okay. So are you aware of the reentry centers? There are reentry centers all around the state, and they help people with employment opportunities and things like that. It's maybe something you want to look into. I think there is one in Hartford.
Absolutely. I've written here also to speak with them through York to get me set up with stuff also.
Okay, good. Because that's a big part of your stability. It was a problem in the past. You were working temp agencies. It sounded like a couple different part-time jobs, but it wasn't enough to really support your stability that you need,
Right.
So, I would rather have seen you take tier 2 or tier 4. Very rarely do we see people come in with tier 1. Can you just talk about some of the things that you learned in that tier 1 program so we could understand better what you
Absolutely.
did there?
It got to the root of anything going on in my childhood. It brought up grief and loss. It made you recognize things that you need to work on yourself to be able to be stronger and have that recovery network system, know that you're not alone. And to be able to have, we did make preventative steps and plans in place as to, what triggers and what doesn't, and what I would do had a trigger come upon me, or who I would call, or, the productive ways of going about things to not have that relapse occur, and how to just deal with everyday aspects of life that might be just stressors or triggers or anything in that aspect.
Okay. How do you think you've changed the most since you've been in prison?
I believe that I'm trying to change as being very productive in my mental health and my recovery, by staying in the networking with Narcotics Anonymous, honestly, which I attend every week. I am constantly doing something, like I am involved in so many different business, with business class and the apprenticeship. I'm just trying to prepare for the reentry. So I feel like I've progressed in the aspect mainly of knowing that I need to stay sober and what I need to do that and move forward.
Okay, so you mentioned, and I read about the sober house, your plans for the sober house. That's in Middletown?
Correct. Wings of Recovery.
Okay. Now, how did you hear about that organization? How did you come to be in contact with them?
I've heard through people being released from here.
Okay.
And my mother had looked it up and spoke to someone over there. So she did, there is a bed paid for if I am granted. That's been since January.
Okay, so this is the first I heard about your mother helping you. So you have that support in the community?
Absolutely.
You talk to her on the phone?
I talk to her every day. I visit with her virtually twice a week.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yes.
So, and she's been researching these things and trying to get things in place. So that way, you have a place to go when you come out and you can maintain stability and sober life.
Yes, she had already put down the deposit to secure the bed, and then she is, you know, I'm gonna definitely get employment, but she is willing to pay up for the first couple months if need be. She's in contact with them. She talked to them the other day again just to touch base with them.
That's very nice of your mother to do that. You're 41 years old, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, that she's still, you know, really
absolutely.
trying hard to help you. A lot of people don't have that kind of support.
No, they don't. I'm very fortunate for my mother. She's one of the most important.
She's not giving up on you yet. It appears that she's not giving up on you yet, you know?
No, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky.
Okay, don't let that, don't take advantage of that situation. I don't know how else to
Absolutely.
say it. You know what I'm saying? You really
Absolutely.
need to honor her assistance by doing what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna see if my colleagues have any questions. Okay, thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
Member Rodriguez.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are you still taking multi-cap care curriculum?
I just actually completed it this Monday.
And what will that do for you?
It gets you, so they give you $200 upon completion. I got my OSHA 10 course for that, certificate that's here. They will help me with up to $500 to restore my license. And then once I do leave, I can actively gain apprenticeship because of completing that course.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's good. I mean, I'll be honest with you, my concern is that you are 4 in the substance abuse scoring. It's a high score. My colleague mentioned to you about, usually we like to see tier 2 or tier 4. You were on methadone for 15 years? Did I read that
No,
correct?
I was on methadone. I was sober for 15 years. I was on methadone for a year when I was 20 to 20, or 3 years when I was 20 to 21, and then 4 years prior to coming here.
Okay. And you relapsed after that?
I relapsed during it, yes.
Yeah.
Or
Is
no,
that-
I was, yeah, I had
Go ahead.
relapsed and went on to methadone, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you've checked out CCAR and you've done the things that I think you need to kind of do. Did you say you had a sponsor?
I do, through Writing Steps for Recovery. It's a back and forth that you write letters and they work on the steps. So I have been completing those steps. It's a very long process, which I'm not in any hurry to rush. But yes, I have been doing that for probably 6 months now. And I am on naltrexone also, which is
Yeah,
a
you mentioned that
voluntary,
earlier.
yeah, preventative measure too.
Yeah. You didn't get a chance to complete all of your OAP, correct?
I'm on the New Thoughts waiting list. I've been on it for months.
Do you think that would be helpful for you? Is that something you think you would want?
I don't ever discredit anything that could be positive for me. I'm sure all the programs here would be a benefit to me. But I do also believe that with everything that I have completed and my perseverance on trying to stay clean and be productive outside, that I would be able to obtain that upon release, something similar to that.
And I think it's positive that that's your thinking at this particular point in time. I mean, you're also in a very structured kind of environment right now, which should make, even though there are things that go on in there, I'm sure, but it should make your sobriety easier at this moment. Being on
Correct.
the outside, that's really more concerning than anything else. Sober house separate from a halfway house, for me, it's kind of different. The kind of supervision you get in a halfway house is a little bit different than in a sober house. You're gonna kind of be on your own in a sober house, even though there should be a positive group of individuals that are in there.
Right.
I don't think I have any additional questions for you at this point. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Panel member Smith Palmieri.
I don't have any questions. I think we get covered by very good job.
Okay, Ms. Valentine, we're done with the questions. So now we're going to talk about your case and deliberate and come up with an answer. During this time, you can listen, but please do not interrupt, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Valentine is here for these two counts of left under counts of intent to sell. She relates low for her overall risk to recidivate according to my documents that I reviewed. Her criminal history is minimal, really, and the kind of charges that you would see that from a person struggling with substance abuse. But I don't see any violence or anything like that in here that I reviewed. You know, she sounded good today. She spoke about all the programs she's taken. She got herself involved in a lot of different things. Like my colleague has mentioned, and I mentioned that I would have rather have seen her go into tier 4 or tier 2, but she ended up completing tier 1, talked about what she learned from that. She also engages in, sounds like the MAP program to some degree, and goes to NA meetings. She's in several other programs and has addressed some mental health issues, you know, all kind of in support of her sobriety, you know what I mean, in one way or another, it looks like. So, you know, instead of what we normally see like tier 4, it seems, or tier 2, it seems like she's done it a little bit differently. There are a lot of different things that she's engaged with to kind of address those needs. She's got support in the community from her mother, who has been helping her and has actually made a deposit on a sober house where she wants to transition to. She has plans to continue with NA, CCAR, and she talked about engaging in an IOP at, I think she said Rushford. She knows that she needs to stay away from her old neighborhood and people that she used to be involved with, and she wants to move to a different town. Sounds like a realistic release plan to me at this point. She sounded good. I also read that she's been approved by for a halfway house by the Department of Corrections. So, you know, it was all good for me today, and I am in support of her discretionary parole. Member Rodriguez.
Pretty much in the same place. She sounds pretty good today.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, some concern around that she's a 4 and take a tier 1, but she's done, you know, she's done work on other programs.
Yeah.
So it has some situations set up for herself where there will be some support in the community for her. Talked about CCAR. Then you can took from that. So I'm going to support.
Okay. Member Smith Palmieri.
I do support of so her discretionary parole today. I do hear my colleagues' concerns about her drug and alcohol score. For me, however, you know, she was able to really kind of talk about tier 1.
She was.
From what she lived sober life for a number of times.
Yeah.
It looks like even when she was struggling, she went back to what she thought would be helpful and help her gain sobriety again. But she seems to have a solid plan
Yes.
and understand what she needs to do to remain sober in the community despite not having taken a tier program. I think she sounds good. And got a sober house down the road for her, I think is insight into what's a good place for her to be living.
I agree. She says that going back to her town is gonna, you know, it could be a trigger for her, and you know, people just say those things, but she's actually taking action here and had her mother make a payment.
Yeah.
So
I think it's real change.
yes. So, okay, let's talk about the stipulations. You know, I think in this situation, we're gonna have to put a halfway house on here so that they can just make this transition. So that's just if needed, and then she needs to go there because they have to go to this halfway house and do all those things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sober house.
They stopped work.
Yeah.
Health evaluation.
You know, so I had mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary too. Are you okay with that? Is there anything else
Nothing
I
else.
don't think.
I don't either, yeah. Okay. Alrighty, so in regards to Coral Valentine, inmate number 446715, I'm gonna make a motion to grant discretionary parole on or after today's date, July 17th, 2026, with the following conditions that'll be in addition to the standard parole conditions. Halfway house placement if needed, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Valentine, did you hear all of that?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck to you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much.
This concludes the hearing for Parole Valentine inmate number 6.
How you doing?
It's a different outfit.
We'll be with you in one moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I got on the camera. I said, Mommy, where are you? I said, I'm putting you down. And you want the camera, because then, yeah. Take this, this, the four stops away. I said, well, I don't know.
All right, good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. Today is Friday, July 17th, 2026. This is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. Following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Good morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number on the record.
Tamia Cologne, 450968.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Tamika Cologne, inmate number 450968. She's serving a sentence of 10 years suspended after 3 years with 3 years probation for violation of protective order, possession with intent, stealing a firearm, and criminal possession of a firearm. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date on 7/2026. There is no victim input in the case. There is an offender accountability plan that has been reviewed and shows that the offender is completing voices, new thoughts, smart recovery, beyond violence, and the warrant. She is currently participating in the DEFY program. Utilizing the women's justice assessment order, the offender's overall score for recidivating falls within the moderate range. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Tamia Cologne. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be heard today. First, I would like to apologize to both my victims by saying I am deeply sorry and regretful for the pain I have inflicted on my victims. I take full responsibility for my actions as well as the impact I have made on my victims, my family, as well as my community. Being incarcerated for the past 19 months, I have had time to sit and reflect on my actions that led me to be in prison. At first, I didn't think I did anything wrong, but being incarcerated, I have had to face reality that I did bring harm to people. I've truly come to the realization that there are laws that are made and I need to follow them. I have took the initiative by completing all my OAPs along with other programs that need to get me on the right path. As much as I would like to divert responsibility to anyone else than myself, I'm solely to be blamed for my own actions. Ever since I started doing my groups,
I have been repeatedly telling myself to take accountability for what I have done, and I've seen the changes within myself. Regard to how I've spent my time here, I've taken advantage of everything they had to offer. I've had a job for the past 7 months while enrolled in my CDB classes. I have also done New Thoughts, Voices, Beyond Violence, and Smart Recovery. I've been doing everything to utilize the programs and activities offered to ensure I become the best version of myself when I leave. I will continue taking huge strides, becoming the best version of myself if given the opportunity to prove myself. I would like to thank you for your time and consideration, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my progress of how far I have come and who I became. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your opening statement, Ms. Cologne. So what's going to happen now is that we're going to take turns asking you questions. And then when we're done with the questions, we'll talk about your case and deliberate, and then we'll give you an answer today, okay?
Okay, thank you.
My colleague, panel member Rodriguez, is going to start with the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Ms. Malone.
Good morning.
How are you feeling?
Nervous, but
A lot of people feel nervous. A lot of people feel nervous to come in. But try to relax. Take a deep breath and try to relax. Can you tell me what you're taking responsibility for?
I'm taking responsibility for everything I've done, all the things I've done to people that I shouldn't have, and that I should have never been carrying or selling drugs to anybody.
So why were you carrying?
To protect myself.
Because what?
To protect myself because of the things I was doing.
You didn't have a permit.
No, I didn't.
You didn't train to use the weapon.
I didn't.
Yeah. You were lucky,
I am.
right? You're lucky you never used it. Nobody ever got hurt. I'm glad that you, in your opening statement, you did accept responsibility for these offenses, for those things that you were doing. You've taken programming, and you've taken quite a bit of programming.
Yes.
Yeah. You did not take addiction services. You did take Smart Recovery, but you haven't taken a tier program or anything like that, correct?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about did substance abuse play any role in these offenses?
Alcohol has. I was drinking excessive when I was outside doing all the things I was doing, and I wasn't in the right state of mind, and I was going down the wrong path in my life. And I'm glad that I got sent here before I ended up dead, and I had time to reflect on everything that I have done to get on the right path when I go home.
Yeah, because for me, I mean, you had no criminal history, and then this really like serious charge.
Yeah.
What do you think were the kinds of things that led up to this?
Hanging out with the wrong crowd. The people I was chilling with, I was hanging out with all older people, and I got influenced to do the wrong things. And I'm ready to turn my life around now.
Yeah, you're still very young.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't employed at the time of this happening. You were supporting yourself by selling drugs. You don't have a lot of employment experience.
No,
Right.
I don't.
Are you doing any work in the facility?
Yes, I have a job in main dining, the kitchen. I've been there
Is
for
that
7
is that
months.
your kitchen outfit?
No, it's not.
You had a couple of tickets that concerned me. They were last year, and the last one, I believe, was in February of last year, so it was a while back already. What happened?
The first ticket I got, Some girl called me a word I didn't like, so I chose violence when I shouldn't have.
That was the one in 2024.
Yes,
You were even younger then.
yes, I was.
What program kind of opened your eyes to wanting to make some changes?
Beyond Violence did.
Tell me a little bit about how that worked for you.
So my domestic case, so they had me take Beyond Violence, and when I started it, I wasn't like there to like open up and tell them about what happened. But after I got comfortable and I started opening up about how I was wrong in the situation and that I should have created boundaries and communicated instead of choosing violence on the situation. And I could have took time to rethink everything that I did before it happened.
Yeah, you think thinking things out before you do stuff.
Yes,
That's something you learn from this particular program.
yes,
Would you say that was kind of the program? So that's the program that kind of helped to lead you to wanting to change, make some changes.
take some changes. And when I was in South Dorm, the work program in here, it's for recidivism. So when I was there, we focused a lot on wanting to make changes on yourself and to be a better person. And I felt like everybody over there was on my side, and I wanted to make changes for myself to be a better person.
That's positive. That's very, very good. You have not completed high school yet.
No, I haven't.
What's your thoughts around what you're going to do about continuing education?
When I get home, the credits I made here, I want to go home and get my transcripts here to go home and keep going to school and get my high school diploma.
Were you working on your GED or you're just working on like an adult?
CDP, it's for your credits to get your diploma.
You said
It's a-
GED?
CDP,
Oh, CDP.
yes, sir.
You know how many credits you have?
I have 10, I believe, and I need 15 more.
That's important. That's going to be important for you.
Yes, it is. And
At least getting a high school education.
yes,
But it's not something you are putting effort into that now.
yes, I am.
You also completed a hospitality.
Yes, I got 2 certifications in that.
I
And
saw that.
the
saw
teacher left, so I couldn't finish the class.
I'm sorry, the teacher left?
Yeah, the teacher retired, so they haven't got a new teacher for the class yet.
So you have much more to go in that class? Because I saw
Yes.
you had two certificates?
Yes, 2.
There are different elements of that course, is that what it is? There are different things that you have to learn?
Yes, I
And you
believe
get a
there's,
certificate for each one?
yes, each, like 2 to 3 chapters, you get a certificate.
Are you involved with any kind of relationship at this point?
No, I broke it off. Well, they broke it off for me about a few months ago.
And you haven't taken any kind of domestic violence course?
I think beyond violence for women.
Domestic violence would be the beyond violence.
Oh, that's part of
For women, yeah.
All right, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I'm a little concerned about your drug situation, even though I know you've taken Smart Recovery, that that there isn't a tier program involved at this point. Have you thought about how you're going to handle your recovery on the outside?
Yes, I have a lot of support from my family and my mom. So my mom's gonna help me, obviously. And I just want to stay on the right path, get a job, go back to school. And
Well, look, you've done a lot of positive things, and it sounds like you want to do some, some positive things on the outside. My concern is that I would like to see that you have some real support around recovery, like a positive group of people on the outside. That when you get to those moments where where you might get stressed out, and want to use drugs, that they're there to kind of help to assist you.
yes,
And I'd like to see, like more of that as part of your plan to come out.
okay.
Because I'm glad that you want to go back to school. That you that you want to stay out of trouble. I mean, that's really very positive. But I think you need, for me, I feel like you need like a lot of support on the outside to really begin to help you with that. So right now, I don't have any additional questions. I'm going to see what my colleagues have to say.
Okay,
But I do wish you a lot of luck. I really do.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Councilmember Smith Palmer, do you have any questions?
So Ms. Cologne, I do agree with Mr. Rodriguez. Your education is incredibly important. You're barely 21. So I'm hoping that you're going to follow through with that. I do want to, so you do have this drug and alcohol score of 3. It's not the highest, but you talk about smoking marijuana, you talk about alcohol. Can you tell me how you think that affected your life in the community? How do those things affect your daily life?
Okay, drinking, because I was drinking excessive. So it was leading me down wrong path that I wasn't thinking straight. And I was being reckless. I wasn't doing right by nobody by my side. I was pushing everybody away. And I don't want to drink no more. Like, it ruined a part of me that I don't want to go back to that part of my life ever again.
Okay. It sounds like it was very chaotic,
Yes.
right? You're in this car, you're running from police, you're selling drugs, you have to bear just a lot of chaos. And here you say, your family's very supportive. So I'm sure it was difficult for you and for them to be mixed up in this whole, this lifestyle. When you were asked by the parole officer about a relapse prevention plan, he said, I'm just not going to drink, I'm going to work. Can you think about that a little bit more closely for us? For somebody who readily admits that you are excessively drinking, you're a very young person, alcohol is everywhere.
Yes.
How do you think you're going to avoid that? And think about, for me, what you know about any support other than your family that you might be able to go find in the community.
All right, in the community, I can find a support group for drinking. So,
Like what do you know about?
like NA, Al-Anon. What's the other question you asked? I'm sorry.
Well, I asked, what you would do in the community outside your family to help you to stop drinking, to not relapse with alcohol or marijuana. Where do you think you could go for some support?
Okay, the support groups, I don't know a lot about it. So I would have to do some research on it because I never went to go to somebody else but my family to get support.
Okay. And when you were in Smart Recovery, did they talk about how to remain sober, help you identify any triggers that maybe lead you back to drinking or using drugs?
Yes, they would say, don't go to what you know, because what you know is what you go for. And the friends that you used to associate yourself with, if they're still doing what they was doing before, don't go back and chill with them and hang out and start partying over again.
Do you think it's going to be, you're very young. We can't say that enough. And do you think it's going to be hard for you to stay away from those people?
No, I haven't been in contact with them since I've been in here. I talk to them like once in a while, like they'll text me to check up on me, but I just want to keep my distance from everybody so I can get myself on the right path and do right.
And since you've been in the facility, have you had an opportunity to talk with any of the older women there, the ones that have been there for a little bit maybe, or have been through what you're going through a few times, to give you some advice?
Yes, I had a few mentors that would sit one-on-one with me and talk to me about like their cases, and they would tell me, what you're saying, I'm young and I can change my life around because I still got a chance, and I believe that I could.
Did you like that? Did you like talking with them?
Yes, I did. It opened my eyes a lot.
You know, that's kind of like, that could be somewhat the same as getting a sponsor in the community through AA and NA, people that have that same lived life experience, but maybe they're a little older than you. And, you know, we know that there's different support groups, especially for young people. You know, living a sober life can be a little bit challenging sometimes in our community.
I understand.
Okay. And then my only other question was, so I was reading your evaluation for Beyond Violence, and it talked about that you were able to verbalize new healthy thinking strategies and behaviors. Can you think about why they would say that? Did you identify some different ways to think when you're in the community?
Yes, I identified that while I was in that toxic relationship, that I could have just left instead of being violent towards my partner, and that
All right, I'm going to help. I want to take this to a different part.
okay.
So that's with your relationship.
Okay.
How about when you're back home, and how do you think thinking differently, or what sort of healthier ways of thinking will you be able to use when you're back out in the community?
Okay, so yes, ma'am, my bad. When people are being negative, I can always turn it into a positive situation. And I can communicate more because my communication was bad before I started any of these groups. I didn't know how to talk anything out. I would just act out. And
You feel
Yes.
that's better? You feel you're a better communicator?
yes, ma'am.
Can you give me an example of a situation where you were able to use your words instead of responding aggressively?
So before me and my ex-partner broke up.
No, I want to
we-
talk about something at the facility.
Oh, the
Something that
facility?
maybe where you use those good communication skills to get yourself out of some trouble or to avoid a problem with somebody else.
Okay, so a situation at work the other day. I was talking to this girl, and she thought I was coming off her aggressive, but I was just speaking to her. So I sat down with her and I apologized and I was like, I didn't mean to come at you that way if you thought I was, but I was just speaking. And we got an understanding after that. And now we're good friends. Like, we talk all the time. And
So she was open to that dialogue, to
yes.
understand, to talking through that miscommunication. Now
Yes.
you have three, if you get parole today or down the road and you have 3 years of probation to follow, how do you think parole and probation could be helpful to you in the community when you're back home?
They can keep me in line. They can give me the structure to follow the rules. I'm gonna do my best to just focus on what I have to do and do my parole, my probation.
You know, that's an important time to be really thinking about those communication skills. Right? The more you can communicate, the more you'll understand why the rules are important and how they can support you in staying in the community, staying home, making those positive changes. So communication with those two organizations will be critical to helping you move forward.
Yes.
And they'll want to hear what you're thinking,
Okay.
right? Okay. All right, Ms. Cologne, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So Ms. Cologne, I just have a couple things, and it's a lot of the same things that my colleagues have both spoke about. For me, it's this addiction services and alcohol issue that's really, giving me some trouble. So do you understand our concern about the addiction services and your alcohol use that was excessive, admittedly by you in the community?
Yes.
Okay. Because you were involved in domestic violence and protective orders, you acknowledge that, and you were abusing alcohol and you had a firearm. So those things, they don't combine. It creates a very dangerous situation, especially when emotions are involved. And then,
Yes.
while you're in the facility, you got an assault and you described it as, someone called your name and you resorted to violence. You weren't able to really deal with that. You have since taken beyond violence, and I do hear in your voice that you recognize that from that program you could have handled that assault differently.
Yes, sir.
But you really have not addressed the alcohol part of all of this. Although I feel like you have addressed, this domestic violence protective order situation. I think you have a better understanding of how to deal with things, even by your example of talking to this other inmate about the miscommunication that displays change in that part of it. But when we talk about alcohol, in the documents I read, it says that you don't believe you need a treatment at this time and that you're just not going to drink. For me, it's not a high enough standard for me to be comfortable with someone that was in domestic violence and possessing a firearm. When I read the police report, have you ever looked at the police report? Do you remember what happened the day you were arrested?
A little bit. I was.
Highly intoxicated, I would say, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what it says here. You had a bottle of Don Julio tequila. After the police put you in handcuffs, you asked them if you could have a shot of the tequila. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
It's not like a social or occasional drinking situation. That's not what we're dealing with here. This was directly tied to your criminal behavior, and it was bad. Your drinking was excessive, like you said. You acknowledged that. The police talked to you about running from them or whatever, and you said you couldn't because you were too intoxicated at the time. You wouldn't be able to run from them,
Yes, sir.
And while that was all going on, you're carrying a firearm, It's just that alcohol piece is very concerning for me. I just want you to understand that. Your last disciplinary report was in February of 2025. That's pretty good. It's been a while. Do you think you can continue that stretch until next February with no disciplinary reports?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you for answering my questions. Anyone else have anything else?
Can we circle back just for one?
Sure,
minute?
yeah, of course.
Talking about your substance abuse. So did I read this correctly? You were in the Worth program And then you were discharged from it before you were able to finish it due to some roughhousing with somebody
Yeah,
else?
I was force playing with another inmate, and the day after, the lieutenant kicked us out, both of us out.
How long were you in the program before that happened?
I was in there for 6 to 7 months.
So, I'm a little surprised. That's not a small amount of time. Now, that's a good amount of time. Do you feel like you benefited from the time you were in the program?
Yes, I did. Because I took Al-Anon when I was in there. These are groups that you just go to, and the other inmate, our mentor that ran it, she related a lot to us because she did her time under alcoholism. And so just talking while we was there, it helped me realize that I don't want to drink how I was drinking.
Some people can drink socially and some people just can't.
Yes.
There's really no rhyme sort of a reason, but sometimes it's just how life is. And
Yes,
what's
ma'am.
best for certain people. I'm a little surprised too, that having been in the program for that long, that you weren't able to formulate a little bit more thoughtful relapse prevention plan. Did you talk about a relapse prevention plan in the time you were in work?
Yes, just a little bit. I didn't talk about it much because myself, I felt like I could control myself when I get home. But I should have put up a better plan than what I have right now.
Yes.
It's, you're only 21 years old. I know we keep saying that because you have such a long life ahead of you to
Yes,
do
ma'am.
great things. But if you keep drinking like that and even using marijuana, you're just going to be in a vicious, chaotic cycle.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks, Miss Cologne. I appreciate that.
Thank you for that follow-up. Do you have anything else, Panelmember Rodriguez?
No.
Okay. All right, Ms. Cologne, we are all done with the questions. You gave us a lot to talk about. So we're going to talk about your case and deliberate, and then we're going to come up with an answer. You can listen during this time. Please do not interrupt, and then we'll give you an answer shortly.
Thank you.
Okay, Panelmember Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I look at the leader serious charges, obviously. That's what you go. And Ms. Colon's taking a lot of programming. She's taking programming that can be very beneficial and very helpful, and apparently has gained some insight from the program that she has taken. I was concerned about the issue around the alcohol and substance abuse, and the fact that even though she took Smart Recovery, which I think is also a good program, I think I would like to have seen a program that would have maybe addressed a little bit more, and would have given her an opportunity to kind of really establish a plan that would really support her on the outside. And I struggle with the fact that it's a young person who's in there, probably should be on the outside, really working, doing some good things on the outside. I'm struggling with that. But for right now, unless I hear something different from my colleagues on the denial, I'd be willing to bring her back, give me an opportunity to do just that, maybe try to focus in on that addiction situation, establish a stronger release plan and relapse prevention plan that could really, build that support network around her when she's on the outside. That's kind of where I'm at. Even though I don't want to take away from the programs that she has taken. She's taken youth thought, she's taken beyond violence, Smart Recovery, she's taken some programming. But I think that if I didn't hear a stronger relapse prevention plan in this particular case, I would like to see that.
Okay, Panelmember Smith Palmieri, thank you.
I do agree with Mr. Rodriguez that I'm struggling with this because she is young. She's young. She's in the community. Her mother says she can go back and live there. Very supportive. Smart Recovery, some time and worth. She's got some good foundations. We just weren't hearing, I think, heard, I think, a better plan, maybe some programming. I think she'd do really well at a young person's AA program
Yeah.
or even CCAR.
Yeah, it's probably very helpful for her.
But I would like to see her do some programming for her own chance of being the most successful she can be. So I'd like to bring her back in like 6 months.
Yeah, so, first
In February, you might mention.
yeah, well, because that's 2 years past her last DR, that would
Yeah.
make it, change a little bit about her disciplinary report situation else too. One thing I wanted to say is that, she, comes across very intelligent,
Yeah.
articulate.
Yeah.
Despite not having completed her high school education, I'm surprised because she's well-spoken and can communicate very clearly to us how she feels. When you take an addiction services program, from what I heard from other people, they familiarize people with the services that are available in the community. And that's one of the things that we've all talked about, relapse prevention, but she doesn't know the names of, we haven't heard about CCAR, or she had some Alan on a couple things, but she's really not familiar where those places are at or how to access that. And even in some of the documents, didn't think that she really needed a relapse prevention plan or addiction services. So she has done a lot of work. I'm on the same page as both of you. I would suggest, for me, February of 27, just because that would put her 2 years out from the last disciplinary report. It's about 6.5 months. And, she can take an addiction services program, potentially no disciplinary reports, put together a better relapse prevention plan. Hopefully she's listening to these things, she can locate where the NA meetings or AA meetings are in her community, or, where CCAR is near where she lives at, and then come back with those kinds of things at the hearing and explain how she's gonna stay sober in the community. To me, she's addressed all the other issues,
Yeah. Even a program she can connect with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give her that guidance and a little bit more support.
Yeah, reentry
It's
services.
good. It's nice to have another
Yeah.
source. So.
If it wasn't for her age being so young, her innocence is next September, but given her young age and everything, I really would like to give her another opportunity at this, to have like 6 or 7 months on parole.
I agree.
Okay,
Mhm.
so are we okay with February 27 or?
I am, yeah. I
Okay with that.
give some time to
right,
the educational piece.
She works on all of those things. So my recommendations would be, she has addiction services on there, so we'll just say addiction services, any other positive programs, and a relapse prevention plan,
Yeah, and no DRs.
Yeah.
and no DRs.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's talk about the reasons. Had inadequate institutional program participation, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about this program. I also have a release plan for this relapse prevention plan.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And then how about, do we need anything else?
I don't think so. I don't,
Because I had.
I see some change in her.
Yeah, so,
It's not like
well, I had poor institutional adjustment, but I think enough time has passed, and we're gonna put this beyond that when she comes back, so it should be 2 years out. That's one. Okay, so in regards to Tamia Cologne, inmate number 450968, I'm gonna make a motion to deny discretionary parole today based on inadequate institutional program participation and inadequate release plan. I further move to rehear this case in February of 2027 with the following recommendations: complete an addiction services program, receive no additional disciplinary reports, complete any other positive programming, and put together a relapse prevention plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, Ms. Cologne, do you hear that?
Yes, sir.
All three of us recognize the hard work that you've put in and the programs that you've completed. We just want to see this one piece taken care of with addiction services. Can't get any more disciplinary reports, okay? It's important that you can show us that you can go from now until next February. You come back to the next hearing, having completed addiction services, and then put together a plan on how you're gonna, can't just come back and say, well, I'm not gonna drink alcohol. We need more than that in your situation, okay?
Okay.
You're gonna go to programs, you're gonna, whatever it is that you're gonna do, you'll discover all of those kinds of things in the addiction services program. They'll show you what's available in the community, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, good luck.
Good luck to you.
That's very easy to know. Why are you bringing up these 2-year-old boy? That's what they do. I mean, they keep doing it. It don't stop them. They're born that way and they just continue on. What's the other? And you getting more out of it. That he gave us $500. I'll tell you that he's won all this money and it's my fault. So something happened.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. For today is Friday, July 17, 2026. It's the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. Following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record, certify they've reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Good morning, Panamember Rodriguez.
Can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Hi, my name is Hillary Gillian, 420987.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Hillary Gillian, inmate number 420987. She is serving a sentence of 8 years suspended after 5 years with 3 years probation for forgery second, risk of injury, 2 counts of possession with intent, violation of probation with possession with intent as the underlying offense. As of today, records reflect eligibility May 27, 2026. There is no victim in the case. There is an offender accountability plan that has been reviewed, ensures the offender has completed Tier 4, New Thoughts, Voices, and Negative Management. Utilizing the Women's Risk Needs Assessment Order, the offender's overall score for recidivating. Ms. Gillian, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe your grants of parole. Use anything.
I can read my letter?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Hillary Gillian. Today I want to thank you for allowing me to appear before you, giving me the chance to express my sincere gratitude in hopes of considering for parole. This is not something I want you to think I take for granted. The woman I am today is not the same woman who walked through these doors 3 years ago. I want to assure you I take full responsibilities for my poor decision-making that led me here. At the time of my life, I had developed an unhealthy obsession with obtaining money and material success at any cost. Unfortunately, my focus on financial gain clouded my judgment and caused me to make decisions that went against my values, morals, and principles I was raised with. I became willing to justify choices I should have never made, and in doing so, I lost sight of the person I wanted to be. While there are many factors that influence my thinking, I can now recognize that I alone am responsible for the consequences that follow. Looking back, I now see my experience as a blessing in disguise. I was on a path of self-destruction with no clear future ahead of me. During my time of incarceration, I have taken the opportunity to reflect on my past decisions and impact they have made on others, my family, and my own life. I understand the seriousness of my actions and I have worked to grow into a more responsible and accountable person. I participated in programs and focused on making positive changes that will help me become a productive member of my community. I successfully completed Tier 4 Maryland Baker program. Within this program, I also was able to be a part of other related groups. My overall participation led me to understand addiction, substance abuse, codependency, and so much more. I was able to identify my very own actions. Selling drugs and defrauding became my addiction. I was young and naive, looking for a fast way out. I also completed a Voices program, which taught me that my decision caused me to have multiple victims. Most importantly, my child. In addition, I helped others destroy their lives by using drugs, not realizing the damage I was causing by being so selfish. This fast money idea I thought I had, in all reality, was me stealing from others, something I wouldn't appreciate being done to me. I became a fully certified recovery coach by completing CCAR. This helped me gain the tools and knowledge necessary to help others struggling with addiction and recovery. My goal is to get back to the community through volunteer work and employment as a recovery specialist. I want to use my experience to help others avoid the mistakes I made and show them that change is possible. Upon my release, I'm committed to living a law-abiding life filled with integrity. I plan to obtain employment, stable housing, while continuing to making positive choices. I look forward to making amends in placement of what once was my absence. Becoming a better mother is my top priority for me. I am grateful to have the support system I have at home, who have influenced me to go back to school to earn a degree in psychology, in which maybe one day I can become a therapist. Today, I know my worth. I understand the importance of accountability, and I have a clear vision of the future I want to build. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much for your opening statement. So what's going to happen now is we're going to take turns asking you questions. And then when we're done, we're going to talk about your case and deliberate, and then we'll give you an answer today, okay?
Okay.
All right, my colleague, panel member Smith Palmieri is going to start with the questions this morning.
Thank you. So Ms. Gillian, you provided some great information in your opening statement. At least I'm very happy to hear you talk about the Tier 4 program. I'm just happy to hear you specifically talk about Voices and the victims in the community. Let's start with why you're in jail. Okay, you were on probation for selling
Yes.
drugs, and now you have 2 new convictions for selling drugs, the forgery and the risk of injury. So
Yes.
you're on probation. How do you get back into selling drugs when you're already on probation for it? Can you look at that pattern for us?
Yeah, I can see that pattern being kind of an issue just because I fell back into old ways, which I was already on probation for. But being here, it really opened up my eyes to how important my actions are to my son and how I really need to change my life to become a better mother and just a better overall person for him. Like this time apart from him really destroyed me, and it really kind of opened up my eyes to me being a better person overall and having to stop my reoccurring issues and being just a better person and moving forward with my life.
Because you were working, right? You were working
Yes.
as a waitress, a server in a restaurant, and
Yes.
for a long, the report said for the last 10 years, that's what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So, and then you're selling drugs, you're on probation, you're selling drugs, and then your boyfriend, the father of your child, he goes to jail, and the report says you took over for him. And at some point, did you see, how that was destroying your life and affecting your child?
Yes. Now I see how great of a influence I did have on destroying my life, my family's life, and my child's life, and how much of an impact is going to be on his life.
So you're with the father who's your codependent of your child. At any point, did the 2 of you talk about what you were doing and how you needed to change your lifestyle?
Yes, we did. And for a while, we already were going to make plans on how to move forward with our lives and the next step that we were going to make.
What happened? Why do you think it didn't come to fruition?
Well, we became incarcerated.
And the forgery, I would say, you know, they found the fake identification in other names, and you said it was for scams that you were committing.
Right.
What was going on with that?
I just fell into other habits that I should have never really fell into. I had a job, I had really trying to get out of like the fast lifestyle, and that should have never been something that I should have added to already the crimes that I already committed.
So the fake ID was for the intention of committing fraudulent type offenses?
Right.
So we already talked about the fact that you were working. Your co-defendant is also the father of your child. I heard you talk about voices. I think it's important for you to recognize, you know, you obviously get very emotional talking about having to leave your son with you, and while you're incarcerated, he's with your mom. He's lucky. It's a safe place to go, I'm sure. But do you see the harm that selling drugs has to the people around you in that facility, people that have lost their children because they're selling drugs in the community? So there is there are much bigger victims than just, you know, what you initially think about to the community in selling drugs. It destroys families.
It does, which when I was in the Maryland Baker program, it really opened up my eyes to the destruction that I was really causing, which is why I also took CCAR and wanted to become a recovery coach so I can help make amends on the destruction that I was causing to my own community.
It sounds like you really benefited from the Maryland Baker program. What's your biggest takeaway from that program?
Just really seeing how much of a destruction I was being to myself, to my community, and how selfish I was really being, just really being a destruction to everything. And I was really the demise of everything that I myself was causing. So I'm very thankful for that program. I'm very thankful of the 9 months that I was there for really opening up my eyes to something better and really changing my outlook on what I was doing and the life that I was really living.
What do you think? Were you able to identify some triggers for yourself while you were in that program? Things that might lead you back into this chaotic lifestyle of selling drugs?
Yes, I did. And during that program, we also have to do like 3 self-help meetings, which I attended to, and I co-chaired some of the meetings too, which really helped me work through my triggers and really understand my triggers and not go through them and fall back into something that would make me trigger to go back to my old lifestyle.
Okay, so as we're talking about triggers and things that, tell me what yours are.
I think just really, I have to make a list of my priorities and really follow through with my priorities, making sure that I have a clear vision of everything that I want to do so I can cross it off the board and move on to my next priority. I wanted to go back to school for a while and I just kept pushing it off and kept pushing it off, which allowed me to fall back into my old lifestyle, which I didn't want to. And because I became a full recovery coach, like a certified recovery coach, I want to volunteer back into CCAR so that can help me go back into school and become a therapist.
Okay, so triggers for you are not following through with your goals and your goals, and that leads you back into this selling drugs?
Yes, I really need to make sure that I keep myself on a straight line with following through with my goals, with going back home, getting employment, redoing my whole life all over again, becoming a full mother, and in between time taking courses little by little so I can become the therapist that I do want to become.
But you were, I guess what is a little confusing for me is you were working.
I was.
So is it is money a trigger for you? Is the adrenaline from the lifestyle? Are you supporting your own addiction through it?
It was definitely the adrenaline of the lifestyle. And I don't want to do that anymore just because of the harm that I see, how much it impacted my son. And how it took me away from my son, and never in a million times would I ever thought that I would be away from him. And just the pain that it caused me, it just makes me realize that that's something that I'm never gonna go back to. He's my everything, you know, he's my heart. And that's something that I always wanna make sure that he knows that I'm never gonna leave him, that I'm always gonna be by his side. And that I want him to know that I successfully left here, completed my schooling, and made a life for myself, for him to be proud to look at me and see the change that I've done within myself and within my community, and for him to know that I will always be there with him having a successful job.
I wish that for you. I think that is, you know, a very positive way to live your life and be there for your son. So your codependent is the father of your child, and I read in the report that you hope that when you're both back out in the community, that you'll be able to reunite. Are his goals the same as yours? Do you
Yes.
think they are?
From the last time that we have spoke, yes, his goals are to go back to work, to build his own company, to have something for himself. Now, when he does get out, if things do change, I have to put my son first. I have to put him first before anything else. And he's always going to be my priority towards anything. So if things don't work out, I understand that, I know he's going to understand that our son comes first, and I always have to be with my son. I know the impact that it took from him. You know, he's even going to therapy for the actions that I caused myself and I caused for him. So I don't want to be more of a traumatic experience for my son. So I'm choosing my son first.
You have 2 DRs for reaching out to your codependent through 3-way calls from the facility. So that's concerning to us. You know, that you're not supposed to be having those interactions, but
Right.
Yet you're trying to circumvent the rules to do that.
So since the last time that I spoke to him, that was the last time that I have reached out to him. My last ticket was 2 years ago from reaching out to him, and I understood the consequences. I understood that I really had to look within myself to start thinking for myself, to start thinking for my son, to start really putting just our son first.
Your release plan looks good to me. You want to live with your mother, although it doesn't look like the parole officers had contact with her, but that could still happen down the road. You want to continue with therapy, and then you've talked a few times now about your goals of working with CCAR and going back to school. How about employment? Have you given any thought to what you could do in the interim while you're working to become a recovery specialist?
Yeah, so when I was in Maryland Baker, the lady that did CCAR, she did say that I can volunteer at the Bridgeport CCAR or the New Haven CCAR. After doing 50 hours of volunteer work, I can start working with them.
Okay. And your mom would help support you through that?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
You know, she really wants me to start changing my life, to really become a better mother, you know, to really start having something for myself.
What do you think is going to be hard when you're back in the community? The parole officer asked you what would be a high risk situation, and you said nothing. But
I think I said nothing because of the time of me being here. It really opened up the eyes of the destruction that I did for everyone around me, for how I destroyed myself and how I destroyed everything that I could have had for me if I did go back to school and really achieve the goals that I had in mind. And I know that with this time that I was here, I really sat down, I reevaluated myself, my thoughts, the way that I was feeling, every trigger about me, and really learned how to make sure I'm never gonna fall back into the old lifestyle. I wanna move forward, and I wanna really be someone that I can help a person in the community out.
All right. Well, I really hope that you are successful with those goals, because we can always use more recovery coaches, more
Thank you.
people that want to offer support to others. Do you think things are going to be hard when you're back in the community? Anything you foresee that might be difficult to get started with?
I think being in 3 years in jail, it's a little bit difficult to kind of, just be back into life, which is why I want to go back to therapy, just to make sure that I can talk through just my anxieties of being back in life. But I think it'll be good for me just to restart everything, because I'll have a clear path to just becoming that recovery coach, going back to school, really being a help to somebody that is in need and that needs the help.
Help you first, and then you can work on the others, right?
Right.
Yeah, and you have 3 years of probation, and if you're granted parole, you'll have almost 2 years of parole. So it's a lot of community supervision. You were violated on your last probation for the new arrests. I would encourage you to look to probation and parole as resources in the community, support in the community. They're there to make sure that you're doing things the right way, but they can also help you to navigate some of those difficult, tricky situations.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Guillen, I just have a couple questions on things that my colleague didn't touch on. Part of your violation of probation looks like there was some motor vehicle charges involved, and in one of these drug arrests, you were driving, they were following you around, you were making contact with drug traffickers, other people. What's the status of your driver's license now?
I have my driver license.
It's valid, is never
Yeah.
suspended because of any of this?
No.
Okay, good. All right. And then in your release plan, the way I read it, it's not your mother you want to live with, it's your boyfriend's mother, right?
Yes.
Does she talk to him on the phone?
Yeah, she does talk to him on the phone, but she knows that she's going to help me get back into work, helping me really make sure that I'm keeping a straight line so I can have my own apartment, so I can have my own stable housing once I really get on my feet with a stable job.
Well, I'm glad you have her for support. My concern is the contact. There's gonna, we'll see what happens here, but if you're granted parole, there's a chance that you won't be able to have contact with your co-defendant. And if the person you're living with is talking to him on the phone while you're there, I mean, it gets close to being, that could be a violation. What do you think would happen if that's a stipulation and then you get on the phone and talk to him? What do you think will happen to you?
Well, I know that my mother-in-law is not an enabler at all. She is all for doing the right thing, working, for
I get it. No, but I want to know
yourself.
what do you understand what the consequences would be if we were to say that you're not to have contact with him and then you talk to him? What do you think the consequences?
The consequence will be me being back in here for
I want you to
violating.
understand, it's not going to be a disciplinary report like what happened in. It's
Right.
going to be, they take these things seriously. Everyone wants you to be in the best situation and position to be successful in the community. And part of that may be at least for the time being, not having contact with him.
Right. And I understand that.
I'm not saying that's a permanent thing because you have a lot of supervision. Maybe, if he does the things that you're saying and he could, maybe there's a situation where down the road, you could lead back to having that relationship, but at least in the beginning, there's a chance that you're not going to be able to have any contact with him. So you're just going to have to be careful if your if your mother-in-law is talking to him on the phone and you're there, to me, that's, it gets very close to being a violation,
Right, but I understand that I do have to put myself and my son first. So
Okay.
if I don't have to have a contact with him, I won't have a contact with him.
Okay, all right, I appreciate that. And I did hear you say several times that your son is your priority and that
Yes.
you're willing to, to do what you have to do, the hard work to make him your priority instead of, putting yourself in a bad situation by violating rules or whatever, so. Okay,
Correct.
those are the only things that I wanted to just clear up. Member Rodriguez, do you have anything else?
Thank you, Mr. J. You bring up a good point. Is that case still pending and is he out? Is there?
Do you know if he's out right now?
No, he's still incarcerated.
Okay.
He's incarcerated.
Is he gonna go to his mother's house when he gets out?
No, he's gonna go to his aunt's house.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. I don't really have any additional questions. I just wanted to, because I just read that it was still pending. I didn't know if he was out already.
Okay, okay. All right,
Thank you.
anything to follow up? Okay, we're all done with the questions, so we're gonna discuss your case and deliberate, and then we'll give you an answer. During this time when we're talking, just please do not interrupt, okay? Okay, thank you. Member Smith Palmieri.
Thank you. So Ms. Gillian, she has talked about why she's incarcerated, the violation of probation, how she got back into selling drugs and had fake identification for committing fraud in the future. At some point, she's not charged with it, so we don't know if it happened. She takes responsibility. She does score low for risk to recidivate. She has minimum criminal history, just what she was on probation for, which was selling drugs. She was employed prior to incarceration, talking about the risk level. She's done a number of things to kind of reframe how she thinks, give her some skills and strategies to make better decisions through new thoughts, anger management. She talked quite a bit about the Marilyn Baker program and the CCAR program, which she seems to be very invested in, particularly CCAR. We talked about her release plan. I misspoke thinking it was her mother. It is her child's father's mother, and who is also her co-defendant. So that would be up to Parole and Community Services to make a decision about. I was happy to hear that she has a release plan that includes therapy. She's got some realistic goals. Certainly she's capable of being employed. So for today, I do have her voted to discretionary parole.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you've said. I have a couple stipulations. We'll get to that in a second. Panel Member Rodriguez?
Based on what we've heard today, I agree that she's support discretionary parole. If you take it the best program in terms of subsidy-based program she could take. Seems as if she's gained some insight from it based on what she said today. I do have some concerns about where she's going and what that means in terms of the co-defendant. But as you said, I'll probably deal with that. So yeah, can deal with that. So I would be supportive of her discretionary parole today based on what I've heard today.
Member Smith Palmieri, how do you feel about the stipulations?
Well, we do need to add a halfway
Yeah,
house.
just in case.
Paid mental health evaluation and treatment. And no contact with Sylvester Edwards without the parole officer's permission.
That's exactly what I have. Do you have anything else?
No.
No, I think we're on the same page here. In regards to Hillary Gillian, inmate number 420-987, I'm going to make a motion that we grant discretionary parole on or after today's date, July 17th, 2026. The following conditions that will be in addition to the standard parole conditions: halfway house placement if needed, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary. No contact with your co-defendant, Sylvester Edwards, without the parole officer's permission. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Guion, did you hear that?
Yes, thank you.
All right, you heard what we said about this situation, your living situation. You're gonna have to be very careful with that, okay? And like my colleague said, they're gonna help you manage that and check it out, but just be very cautious. That's the only area that makes us a little nervous. And like you said, focus on your son and make that the
I
priority.
will.
Yeah, and your recovery and rehabilitation, We wish you the best of luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Morning.
Right, we'll be right with you.
Okay. Mm.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. Today is Friday, July 17th, 2026. This is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Deborah Palmieri.
Morning, Panamember Rodriguez.
Can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Romanita Cruz, inmate number 00443-657.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Romanita Cruz, inmate number 3657. She is serving a sentence of 36 months incarceration for possession of narcotics and failure to appear first. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date. There is no dignity of the case. There is a federal accountability plan. It has been reviewed and shows she has completed the WARNA and is currently in the Tier 2 program. Utilizing the Women's Risk Needs Assessment WARNA, the offender's overall score for recidivating falls within the moderate range. Ms. Cruz, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may. Ms. Cruz, you can now tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole.
I didn't write a letter, because I just felt like it was probably impersonal, and I just felt like it would be more genuine if I came from the heart. So I feel that I should be able to be granted parole because I have come such a long way. When I first came in here, I didn't know what was right, what was wrong. I admit that I was addicted to drugs and I let trauma consume me. And I let it take over my life. I let it cloud my judgment. And I did things I shouldn't have done. And it took me to come here to basically get my life back. I am highly appreciated that I was able to be put here because it not only saved my life, but it allowed me to find myself, and not just myself, but find a better version of me. And I'm also a mother, so it also allowed my kids to get their mother back. And I feel like I've learned so much from being here. The classes I've been, the groups that I've been, the Tier 2, the Stride, all of it, it allowed me to open up and look and dig deep within myself and figure out what even started, what trauma was it that had me go the wrong way, and really just address them. And I was able to do that, and especially the Tier 2 program. And I mean, we did so many things in that group. I've learned how to cope with my emotions, with my anger, with my trauma, my family, with my kids, and how they're affected by what I've done and what I could do to keep going. And I have treatment plan in place. I know when I leave here, I have counseling already in place. I already have housing in place. I have a job that I'm hoping I can still get when I leave, pretty much just waiting for me. And I have so much support. I feel like had I not come here, I know without a doubt that I would probably have either died or probably never have been clean. I probably would have never been sober. So for a really long time, I wanted to be here. And I look at this place like more than just a second chance, but like it really saved my life coming here. And I honor that. I honor the fact that I was able to fight for my life. And learn so much. Learn how to be a better mom, learn how to just do like basic things like get a job and have a house and a car and like basic daily living things, like having structure in my life and the stability in my life is so much to me. It's changed me so much. And I just can't wait to put that into perspective and really like go home and truly not just survive, but actually live. And I take full accountability for what I've done. It was wrong. I shouldn't have been doing drugs to begin with, but that was my fault because in that moment, I admit I was too weak to extend my hand and ask for help. I was afraid. I was ashamed. And I know now that had I just asked for help, had I just really like did it, like had I just really focused on trying to change, none of this probably would have happened. So I acknowledge that because of what I've done, that these were the consequences to my actions. And I think that my sentencing was fair. I think that it was exactly what I needed.
Ms. Cruz, you're starting to repeat some of the things that you've said already. And we have some questions for you. We're going to take turns asking questions.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to talk about your case and deliberate, and then we'll give you an answer today, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Is it okay if we start with the questions now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start with the questions. You've answered a lot of the things that I was going to talk to you about. Honestly, in your opening statement, you did a good job, especially without a written statement, just kind of off the cuff explaining what's going on. One of the questions I wanted to talk to you about was that it sounds like you were originally in the Tier 4 program, right?
Yes.
So explain to me what happened. How did you end up in Tier 2?
So when I first got here, they had put me straight from medical into industries. And when I got there, I'll admit it was extremely overwhelming. The freedom part of it was not what I was expecting. So I tried to sit there for a little bit. I tried to go and do everything that I was doing. I did the groups. I did whatever they wanted me to do. But I feel like when I first came in, I had it in my head that I was coming here to basically learn my lesson. So to have all that freedom as soon as I got here, it was just too much for me. And I knew that it wasn't going to be a good situation. It wasn't going to be what was best for me in that moment because I was just coming in and I wanted to sit with what I've done. I wanted to sit with what I needed to do. And it just was too much. So I did sign out to come back to the side because over here, it's like, you're in a cell instead of out in the open and you're not able to go outside, and it just was too much. And I knew that if I really wanted to change, I had to do it the way that I knew that I had to do it, which was really take accountability for what I've done. And just freedom as soon as I got here, it overwhelmed me.
Okay. Sounded like you took that time to reflect that when you went back on what was going on in your life, and then once you got everything together, you started taking programs again, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And now, are you done with Tier 2 now?
Yes. So I'm done with Tier 2. I got my certificate, but I still show up as a mentor now.
Okay, so you're a mentor in the Tier 2 program.
Yep.
Okay, good. Tell us about that. What do you do as a mentor in Tier 2?
So as a mentor, I still show up to the group and I still, I still do all the work as if I was still in the group. I still come. I have to make sure that I still follow the rules and I act as a leader instead of a follower. And I show these ladies how to basically take this group in and really learn from it, and to show them that, one, that it can be done, two, that basically in a way that, so how do I say it? So I basically am showing them that that it's possible to get through the group, and I'm trying to tell them that, like, you've learned so much from this group, and that even, I don't think some of them know you can be a mentor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a new thing in tier 2. So I'm kind of just going with the flow with it, but I
Okay.
definitely, I still show up and I still do the work. I'm still keeping the rules in place, showing them how to go about it and leading them into a better future for them, just showing them that I can still contribute to the group.
Let's talk about your GED. Do you have your GED or high school diploma?
I do not, but I am currently in a GED program. I go in the morning and I go in the afternoon.
How far along are you?
Honestly, I'm not really sure, but I am doing the practice GED test, so I'm pretty sure I'm close.
What happens if you're released onto parole before you complete that? What's your plan for that?
Oh, I'm going straight to adult ed in Norwich.
You know where that's at? And you've
Yep.
Okay. Have you ever gone there before?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you talked to anyone there, or has any of your family or anyone helped you? Figure out-
Yes, so my mother had contacted them. She
Okay.
let them know that, like, she basically made sure, like, do they still have like my file there? And she made sure that if I do come out, can everything that I have done here be transferred there? Or do I have to
Okay,
start
good.
over? And they told her that I wouldn't have to start over, that I would be starting exactly where I left off when I leave here.
Okay,
So
excellent. I
that
mean,
was
it's gonna be important for you down
Yeah.
the road for employment, you know what I mean?
Yep,
Get that taken care of sooner than later. You're
absolutely.
still very young and you have plenty of time, you know? Just
Yeah.
don't let a lot of time go by. Just get it taken care of.
Yep.
I'm glad to hear you have support in the community from your mother and that you're able to have her help you do things. Do you talk to her on the phone?
I talk to her every day. She has temporary guardianship of 3 of my children. They're all under the ages of 16. And I speak to them. They're all on my visiting list. I see them all the time. They're just waiting for me to come home. When I do go home, once I have like my education and I have my own apartment, then I'll be able to take back custody of my children. But I don't want to do it until I have a stable place and a structured living situation for them.
Yeah, I agree. You have the support of your mother. I would use that to get
Yep.
everything situated, you know what I mean? One step at a time. And like you talked about with tier 4, like don't overwhelm yourself with all kinds of
Yep.
things right away, you know? Now, has your mother said that she talked to the parole officer when they called?
So she told me that she thinks that they called one time, and I believe that was last Monday, but she had missed the call. So she called back and someone told her that they would call her back, and she hasn't heard from them yet, but she's had her phone on her the entire time, making sure that she gets that phone call.
Okay, all right. But she knows that they're going to be reaching out at some point to
Yes.
try to confirm this. Okay.
Yep.
All righty. And then I read your plans, you know, and I heard you talk about in your opening statement about programming therapy. Do you plan to be involved in the MAP program when you're out in the community?
Absolutely. If I can go to Norwich, wherever I go, I will be going to the Root Center.
Okay. And do you know where do you attend NA meetings and facilities? Do they have that there?
In this facility?
Yeah.
Yes, I attend them every Monday night at 7 o'clock.
And do you know where they hold those meetings in the community where your mother lives?
So there's some online, and there's also some that they do have at the Root Center, and they have some at sometimes the Soup Kitchen in Norwich. I have like a list, so I really don't know like off the top of my head, but I have a list of every single NA meeting that I can get to within my town of Norwich at least. But I do also know that I can go online too.
Yeah, I'm just asking, I want to know, if you've done the legwork, and it sounds like you have, if you're serious about these things.
Yeah.
And if you've looked into where these things are at, you had your mother call adult ed, that's the kind of stuff that I was looking to hear. It sounds like you've been approved for a halfway house too by the Department of Correction.
Yes.
Have you heard anything about that? What's going on with that process?
I just recently got the letter stating that I was approved for the halfway house. I haven't heard anything yet. It's kind of just up in the air right now.
Okay. And you were on the waiting list for New Thoughts, right?
Yes. So for New Thoughts, I've been on the waiting list since I've been here. So unfortunately, I bother them a lot because I write them like every 2 weeks to make sure like they remember that I am trying to get in that group. But they told me I have like all the paperwork. I just didn't know if I could bring it here and show you, but I have a whole bunch of papers.
We know that it's hard sometimes to get into programs. We understand it's not your fault, but we still look at it. It's on the list. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm currently in Stride and in the tier 2 as a mentor right now.
And you already have your certificate for tier 2.
I already have my certificate, and I do school instead of the job part, and because we're not allowed to have both here anymore. So.
And you're going to NA meetings, you said also.
And I'm going to NA meetings every Monday night at 7 o'clock.
Okay, it's pretty good. There was one other thing that I wanted to just ask you about. I think that's it. Okay. Councilmember Rodriguez, do you have any questions?
Thank you. So, yeah, I kind of wish you would have taken the tier 4. That would have been really good for you considering your substance use history. But having said that, it seems as if you put some real work into tier 2 and you put some work into looking at your substance abuse issues and at least trying to establish some system when you are released to kind of get involved in recovery and doing your recovery work. So I don't really have a lot of questions for you. My colleague covered a lot of ground. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
I remembered I had one more question. In your opening statement, you said that you have a job and you think it's still there and you're going to see when you get out. Can you just tell me about that job?
So I used to work in a contracting job and with this person that I used to live with before I came in. And he has this job, and I'm pretty sure the name of it is Easy to Do It. And I used to, so I wasn't really the contractor, he was, but I did like the demolition with him. I did the cleaning with him, the painting, the pulling the floors out. And they told me that as long as I come out and I'm sober and I show them that I have like a structured like living situation, that I can come back, but I would have to show them proof that I am actually doing good.
So that sounds like a good field. Do they pay you cash? Or are you receiving a paycheck with taxes out of it?
They paid me cash.
Okay. So, I mean, that sounds like a good job. Now, you have experience in carpentry work, or at least in laboring for carpenters. So, you're probably going to want to look for a job where you can get a paycheck and pay taxes. Your parole officer will talk to you about that if you get granted parole. So, to satisfy, that kind of requirement. And it's important as a responsible person to pay taxes and be part of the community in that way, legitimate. So
I learned a lot of that during the job center program. I went to job center and I learned all about all the things you have to do to get a job. I created my new resume. So I have.
If you don't mind doing this, you don't mind doing this kind of work you're describing. This is labor intensive work. There's work for that kind of thing, people need Yeah, so, okay, let me see if panel member Smith Palmieri has any questions.
I don't have any questions. I think Ms. Cruz did a nice job in answering all, in her opening statement.
Okay, so Ms. Cruz, we're done with the questions. We're gonna talk about your case and deliberate, and then we're gonna give you an answer shortly. You can listen during this time. Please don't interrupt, okay?
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, Ms. Cruz is here for this possession of controlled substance and looks like failure to appear. She's on probation at the time. She reads moderate risk for recidivism. She talked about, initially coming right in and going straight into tier 4. She's kind of overwhelmed by what was involved. It sounds like it was a lot. She needed some time to reflect. And then after she did that, she got herself into tier 2, has completed that and gone on to be a mentor. She participates in NA meetings. She's also working on her GED and has a plan to continue that in the community. She can't finish it while she's incarcerated. Her release plan includes more substance abuse treatment and support in the community through NA, IOP. Talked about the places she wants to go to get GED. She's got support from her family and the community. They're helping her do some of these things. And she talked about potential employment opportunities. So she sounded good to me today. I'm in favor of granting her discretionary parole. And remember, Rodriguez.
I am.
I am too. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the stipulations.
Halfway house.
I just have halfway house if needed. I don't think that she's gonna need it. I feel like, after talking to her, it's gonna get resolved, but for the time being, I think we need to add. Is there anything else?
I had mental health evaluation too.
Okay.
Appreciate that she's a 2. She started out as a 5.
Yeah, she's got point.
Step down.
And she talked about she struggled when she first came in. So yeah,
She doesn't need it. The evaluation will.
I'm
vary
fine with that. Yeah, fine. I think that could be helpful to her. Okay, so in regards to Romanita Cruz, inmate number 443657, I'm going to make a motion to grant discretionary parole on or after today's date, July 17th, 2026, with the following conditions in addition to the standard parole conditions. Halfway house placement if needed, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Cruz, you've been granted discretionary parole. Good luck.
Thank you. Am I all set to leave or no?
Yes,
Okay.
you are. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. Today is Friday, July 17th, 26th. This is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Parole. Following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Good morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Good morning,
Can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Ebony Hubbard, 436-581.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Ebony Hubbard, inmate number 36581. She is serving a sentence of 6 years with 10-year special parole for assault first. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of May 18, 2026. There is no victim input in the case. There is an offender accountability plan. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed new thoughts, biohazard training, and has a job. Utilizing the Lincolnshire State's assessment order, the offender's overall score for recidivating falls within the moderate range. Board members?
Yes. So Ms. Hubbard, I just wanted to talk to you briefly before we go any further, is that the three of us have taken a lot of time to review all of the documents related to this case, the police reports, medical documents, mental health evaluations, things like that. So this hearing is being live streamed. So we want to do is be careful that we're not talking about disclosing private medical or mental health information. You don't need to include that in any of your statements. We have all of that information. We understand what took place. We want to really focus on your programs and things that you've done while you're incarcerated. So it's not appropriate to talk about your personal medical information out to the general public. Okay.
Okay,
I just want to give you that before you start. And then the hearing examiner will take it from here.
All right, Ms. Hubbard. So this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, taking into consideration, what the board just mentioned about your private medical information. So go ahead with
Okay.
your opening statement.
okay, before I read my statement, I had sent some paperwork to the board. I would like to know if you received that work?
It's attached to
The letter to your certificates and a brief statement about what was attached.
Yes,
Yes, we have
did.
that.
Yes, we did.
okay, thank you for letting me
Thank
know. Okay, well, of course, my name is Ebony Hubbard. I'm 43 years old. I'm currently incarcerated at York Correctional Institution and have been for 5 years. At the time of my crime, I was not in a stable state of mind. As a result, I was brought here at York CI on April 12th, 2021, after being admitted into the hospital for a month for trying to attempt a homicide-suicide on my daughter and myself. The intensity of my regret and sorrow for all the pain I've caused my daughter is far deeper than anything I've ever experienced. It makes being in jail look easy. Although I am in prison, I've accomplished much academically. I am keenly aware of the effect I've caused those involved in the circumstances which led to my actions. Determined not to allow my past trauma steer my future any longer, I now direct my mindset and behavior towards self-improvement rather than wishing my past were different. In May of 2023, I graduated from a partial hospital program here at York CI, which was directed by Dr. Sheffel. The program has helped to manage my mental wellness better and has led me to additional resources to help with my assistance towards progress. While in the PHP, I led a Bible-based supportive therapy group, which led to several women finding peace while incarcerated. I still lead a similar group with my own ministry that I started here, and I will continue upon my release. I will also continue my treatment at an outpatient program for my disorder. Currently, I'm working as a Braille transcriber in the York Braille program and have earned a literary Braille transcriber certificate through the Library of Congress. I also graduated from New Thoughts Defy Ventures, Prison Fellowship Academy, and Houses of Healing. Along with work and groups, I attended Three Rivers Community College, where I was studying business administrative marketing. I will also continue my education by pursuing an MBA. To provide for my needs upon release, I will work full-time as a library technician and start a part-time Braille transcribing business. I will start all this while residing at a halfway house until I get my own apartment. My personal transformation has created opportunities for me to help others around me. I take pride in being able to lift others up while at work, school, or church. I believe that anyone who has a desire to grow can overcome negative experiences. Today, I am grateful to be given an opportunity to have a second chance. As a mother, it's important for me to model resilience in the face of adversity and come out stronger on the other side. Thank you for your time and attention.
Okay, Ms. Hubbard, thank you very much for your opening statement. That was very good. What's going to happen now is that we're going to take turns asking you questions. When we're done with the questions, we'll talk about your case, deliberate, and then give you an answer today, okay?
Okay,
My colleague, Panelmember Rodriguez, is going to start with the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Ms. Hubbard, you did a wonderful job presenting that, and with your opening statement.
thank you.
I truly appreciate the work that you've been putting in to working on yourself and putting your life together. And I know I can't even imagine it must have been very challenging.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. For me, you've laid out the questions I would have had about your programming, which was really my concern, is what program you've taken. And I can see that you've done a lot of work around your ministry work that you've been doing, which tells me that you've been helping others while you're there. The work you've been doing on yourself, working on your education, the regret that you've shared with what's happened, the insight that you have regarding all of that. I don't really have a lot of questions for you at this particular point, but I just want to acknowledge that you've really put some very significant effort into your struggles, and it shows. So
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have any additional questions.
Okay. So, Panelmember Smith Palmieri.
Thank you. So Ms. Hubbard, you, as my colleague said, you've done quite well. Have you identified community programs for when you're released?
Yes, I have 2 programs that are going to help me with everything, finding a job, finding an apartment, getting clothes, and also helping me with furniture for my apartment and treatment, trauma treatment and everything.
Okay. What programs are those?
One is RISE and one is Job Center.
Okay. Okay. And I have a note about SSDI. Have you applied for that? Is the expectation that it will restart? What's your situation with that?
I'm not going to restart. I was on it before I came in here. I'm not going to restart it. The jobs that I want to get is a library technician and to start my business. So that would be my income that will come in.
Okay. Do you think it would be beneficial for the medical need, the medical side of things?
I think the only medical side of things I need is my medication and a counselor.
Right. But in terms of medical benefits, in order to get those services?
Well, I believe I can get the state insurance just by being a formerly incarcerated.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to ensure that you've thought that through.
Yes.
All right. You have no disciplinary reports, which is to your benefit, and we commend you on that. You have 10 years of special parole. Do you know
Yes.
anything about being on parole?
I I believe there's some restrictions, like whatever you all decide are my restrictions, I have to follow those. Also, I believe there's a protective order, I'm not sure. I received a letter today that said there's no protective order in process, so they told me that as long as I'm on parole, I'll be in the custody of DOC, and that the protective order will still be considered, but I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, our information says it's not a full protective order, but it's a partial protective order, you know, to the point where you can have contact with the victim. She can't, of course, harm or argue or, you know, cause disruption with the victim.
Okay, so I'm allowed to talk to my daughter?
Well, I think you can talk to the parole officer about that before that happens.
Okay,
I think that's probably the safest way for you to move forward with that. And
okay.
you've had no contact with your daughter since this incident. Am I correct
No.
about that? Yeah,
No.
okay. And then, but the other thing I wanted to say about parole is you are correct. There are conditions, there are really conditions that are meant to help you live successfully in the community.
Yes.
And to support your mental health needs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so good communication with them is very, very important.
Okay.
Okay, they can really kind of help you navigate any resources that maybe you had hoped would be available that aren't, or other resources you're not privy to. And then they're also there to ensure, you know, that there's monitoring in the community as you go forward, particularly with your mental health needs.
Okay.
All right, all right. Is there anything that we should have talked about that we didn't today?
No, you pretty much covered everything, and I've talked to the DOC parole officer, and he answered many questions that I had, so I'm you know, kind of educated and updated on what's gonna happen. The only thing is that I don't know who my parole officer is and how to contact him, so.
Right, that'll all come with time, and they will reach out to you. I just want to, you know, there was a lot of information in your file. Thank you for providing those other documents.
Thank you, yes.
And like I said, we reviewed, as the chair said, we reviewed all your medical and mental health treatment throughout your incarceration. So I feel pretty satisfied that we've got all the information we need.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Ms. Hubbard, tell me about the support you have in the community. Who do you have for family or friends that are gonna help you?
Well, my mom has been a big support. My father has been a big support. A couple of my sisters. I have a couple of friends that will support me too. And then when I come out and get the proper treatment and the right counselor, I have them as support. Also, the RISE program has been supportive, and yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure you have people to talk to when you're out, you're not alone. You have some friends, you have their phone numbers. So if you just want to talk to someone, you have people that you can call.
Yes.
Okay, good. And, you know, you say you want to have a counselor and get the right treatment and everything. You know, I would establish that and make a plan, you know, with them and with your parole officer before you make contact with your daughter or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just, yeah, do that like a planned approach and not anything haphazardly. Make sure that everybody's on board and that's, you know, because you don't want that first encounter to not be what you expected or to make the situation, you know, worse or whatever. So professionals probably need to be involved in that. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I would talk to your counselor before you know, that's my opinion. I'm not a mental health professional, but I would definitely talk to your counselor before you have that meeting, you know, and explain to them, explain this whole situation, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone have anything else? Okay, so at this time, we're done with the questions. We're going to talk about your case, deliberate, and we'll give you an answer. You can listen to us during this time. Please don't interrupt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a very serious case. read the information documents. It's very clear that it was a mental health situation. Played a very role in this particular offense. Having said that, Ms. Hubbard has not very good today. Yeah. She's been involved in programming. She's taken programming. She's been actively involved in her programming. Has taken ministry while she's been in York, and has gained some certificates, in Braille, worked on her education. In a very clear conversation today, she outlined a release plan, and really specified even organizations and places that she would be going to seek the help that she needs. She talked about a focus on her mental health issues, and taking care of those. I'm going to be, she's scheduled for EOS about 3 months in October.
Yeah.
I'm going to be supporting her discussion parole today to give her a chance to have some supervision before that happens, and to kind of get her going in the community and get some of these items that she wants to get into this release plan working for herself while she's there.
Yeah, I agree. And she can use this time to connect with providers and start putting this process in motion. A couple of things I wanted to add, that she has no criminal history.
Yeah, no criminal history and no DRs
And no substance abuse issues that we needed, that were relevant to any of this, So, she raised moderate her risk to recidivate, but she's done very well inside, and I'm in favor of granting her discretionary parole. Remember, Smith Palmieri.
I am as well, for all the reasons we've already talked about.
Okay, so let's talk about the conditions.
halfway house.
I definitely have a halfway house on here.
No contact with victim.
I have
officer permission.
Yeah, without the parole officer's permission. I have 2 people that are listed with OBS. It's the father and the daughter, so it's RB and EB. Yeah, that's listed on the OBS tab, because I think that's the adult that was involved, as the representative of that person. I have mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary. I didn't feel, in my review, that we needed to go any further with that.
I wasn't sure either, to be honest.
Well, all the notes I read, I didn't see.
Treatment and medication.
I read the notes from, and I didn't see that there was a problem that way. It's that,
Yeah, I don't feel.
she takes, she's doing what she's supposed to. She's very engaged in treatment. So, I think if it escalated to a point where there was an issue, we could bring that back and we could do it at that time, but I don't see any.
And it should be used sparingly.
Yeah, I mean, I did give it a close look because of the underlying offense,
Yeah, but she is compliant, she's willing, and I think that having medication is more in terms of somebody that's sort of not compliant with the regimens.
She's not done that person at all.
Yeah, I just said mental evaluation treatment.
It's halfway house and
White House and the victims.
okay, I think are we good there? Okay. I'm glad we had a conversation anyway. In regards to Ebony Hubbard, inmate number 436581, gonna make a motion to grant discretionary parole on or after today's date of July 17th, 2026. The following conditions that will also apply to her term of special parole: halfway house placement, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary. No contact with the victims RB and EB without the parole officer's permission. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Hubbard, did you hear all of that?
Yes, I did. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we've granted you discretionary parole and we set your conditions for parole. Those are also going to apply. Those conditions will also apply to your special parole conditions. So for now, no contact with those 2 people that we described. You'll have to get the parole officer's permission. There's a whole process. You describe what's going on, meet with your counselor, all of that, okay?
Okay. All right.
Wish you
Good luck to you, Summer.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
This concludes the hearing. 3581. Good afternoon. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. Today is Friday, July 17th, 2026. This is a case review being held to add a condition from Ms. Moreau, inmate number 380963. Board members, can you please state your names for the record?
Robert Sazowskis.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Parole Committee Services requested a general no contact order be added to Mr. Moreau's condition. Board members, please consider.
Yeah, so in regards to Louis Moreau, inmate number 380963, I'm going to make a motion to add a general no contact to his parole stipulations. The initials KR, ER, and MA. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This concludes the hearing. Ms. Moreau, inmate number 380963.